Hi everyone and welcome to this session, How a Connected Employee Experience Wins in the AI Era. I'm Helen Marshall, I'm Chief Learning Officer at Thrive, and I talk about all the amazing stuff that we do in our product out into wider communities, and also I'm responsible for internal talent development as well. The first thing I'd like to talk about is what our expectations are versus our workplace realities. So we all know that on the outside in our personal lives, we have access to technology at our fingertips. We can order an Uber that picks us up and takes us where we want to go without necessarily even needing to have a conversation with another human. We can deliver food really quickly. We can access information and knowledge and music right at our fingertips. And it's all a relatively seamless and smooth experience. But actually what happens when we come into a workplace is that actually our experience of technology can actually be a little bit at odds with that experience we have outside of the workplace. And what happens there is a tension point is created between those expectations that we have coming into the workplace and our experience of technology within it. So as L&D, we have a part to play in bridging the gap between where people are and where our organizations are. Although we're not fully responsible for it, we do have a part to play in it. And that's what this session is all about. Now, if we think about it, there are four main generations in our workforce at the moment. We have people who were born in around the 1960s, right the way through to people who were born in the 2010s. Now, to put that into context, the internet, as one of the last great technological advancements of our age, happened in the 1990s. So baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, all will have been through a time and experience that great shift in how we experience and access information and the world in general. Gen Z are digital natives, so they're coming into the workforce already with a certain level of digital literacy. And then if we think ahead to Gen Alpha, the next generation that will be entering the workforce soon, they'll be the first AI natives that will be entering the workforce. So we've got to really think about how we're bringing all that knowledge and skills and experience that exist in our older generations up and sharing it with our new generations that are entering the workplace. And likewise, how we're bringing all that fresh perspective, new ideas and challenge into the workplace as well. So when we think about an employee experience, there are certain elements that fall under this. We're thinking about management and career development. We're thinking about continuous investment in people, but we're also thinking about tools, processes, and systems that exist within organizations as well. So there are many things that fall under employee experience more broadly, and we all have opinions on what makes a great employee experience in practice. But actually, when it comes to that practice, the reality is often a lot harder. So people are facing struggles with limited resources, whether that's budget or headcount, maybe insufficient skills, measuring impact. But I also wanted to highlight three particular stats that came out of this Mercer report that this survey data is drawn from. And that is suboptimal HR technology, ineffective internal operations, and also unengaging internal comms as well. So those are common challenges that we are experiencing with our own customer base as well. And we actually think that if you're setting yourself up for success from a technological perspective, you can actually develop and deliver the processes that make that employee experience much better, more seamless, much smoother, as well as alongside developing the right comms plan in order to bring people along on that journey with you as well. To put this into context from a Thrive perspective, we know that many people are currently experiencing limited headcount and reduced budgets as well. So we have some data from across our customer base that shows that the headcount in L&D teams doesn't really shift too much between organizations who are 500 to 5,000. We're looking at between 3 and 5 staff members to support those teams. And then when you get to the 5,000 to 10,000 mark, the headcount doesn't even really rapidly increase that much. It moves to just about 6 people. So what we're thinking about there is actually how do we make the experiences that we're creating more scalable for the right audiences and the right people, given the limitations on headcount. Obviously, as the graph shows, as you get over the 10,000 employee mark, your headcount within your L&D team does double. So you're at nearly the 10 people mark. But again, if your organization is, say, 60 to 150,000 people, a team of 10 people maybe isn't even really that much in order to deliver against that. So how do we think about that ease of access, that ease of knowledge, information, dissemination, and tools that can really help us as L&D teams to deliver at scale? Some of the problems that we're also seeing are around siloed information, multiple versions of the same content that exist within systems, and also how do you approach a dispersed workforce, and how do you make that employee experience much more seamless and smooth for those people that are based in various different locations? So just putting that into context a little bit from a Thrive customer base perspective. So really, one question we are looking at right now within Thrive is, how about we just make it easier to get work done? And I think there are three things that we really want to focus on here for what good looks like when we're thinking about making it an easier experience for people. It is frictionless. What does a frictionless experience look like? It needs to be actionable. So how can people take action as a result of information that they have at their fingertips? And how do we make it human? So there's a big conversation at the moment about all this amazing technology that's within the workplace, but ultimately we come back to, how do we develop human connection? How do we develop communities? How do we bring people along on a journey in a very human way? So three main things to focus on, and I'll dig into each of those in a little bit more detail now. So when it comes to a frictionless experience, to my point at the beginning, how can L&D really help to bridge that gap between where people are and where our organizations are? Now, one of the things that we think is really significant from a Thrive perspective is our recent acquisition of a company called Hewler. Now, what this means from a Thrive point of view is that we'll have a new front end to Thrive, which brings all of your workplace technology together in one place. So it becomes a one-stop shop for your everyday needs within the workplace. So you can access your emails, your calendar, your learning, all from Thrive. So you can come into the platform and know what you need to do, what your day looks like, and what you have in store. So it's a centralized hub, essentially. What this also means is that we can have federated search. So when you're searching for things on the platform, it's searching from all of those different areas and bringing all of that information together, again, surfacing it in one location. So it becomes a single source of truth as well, which is really appealing from that broader, seamless, frictionless employee experience angle. There are those deeper integrations, and there's also analytics that come with that. So understanding user behavior and being able to understand how someone is accessing something and why someone is accessing something as well. We also have Kiki, who is our AI search engine on the platform. And now Kiki is the customer. What we call Kiki is the search engine, but customers can call this whatever they like. One of our customers, Krispy Kreme, actually calls it Dory, so it's like a little AI assistant that can help you, which is great, and obviously is much more brand specific in that way. Now, again, Kiki can surface information that is solely ring-fenced to the Thrive platform, the Thrive system, and no one else has access to this data. It can read and surface multiple different media types from across the platform, including SCORM, which obviously is really exciting because previously SCORM files haven't been searchable for people. And that federated search angle is really important here as well, because you can ask Kiki a question and Kiki can surface the answers from across all of your integrated apps. So if we're thinking about what I just said about that seamless experience, Kiki can actually surface the right information at the right time based on who you are as an individual within an organization as well. So really leaning into that idea of frictionless experience here. And then when we think about actionable, how can L&D empower people to accelerate their careers and increase talent mobility? And so we're thinking really from a data point of view and a data perspective here. Now we have access to Thrive Analyze. So there's certain data reporting that exists within the platform already that can help you make informed decisions about who your workforce are, what they need to do, what they're accessing, and certain actions that you'll be able to take as a result of that. But we could also deeper dive into content. So content and experiences on the platform to provide you with a deeper look at how Thrive is sitting within your broader organization. So bringing in, utilizing Power BI dashboards, for example, and looking at different data sources to really tell a really strong holistic story about the experience and the impact that you're having as a team as well. We've won multiple awards for our projects that are focused on these particular data projects as well. Most recently, the AA won bronze at the Learning Technologies Awards for best use of data and learning analytics to prove business impact last year, where they saw an increase in conversion rates from their trainee driving instructors to franchisee owners, not only ultimately impacting business revenue and revenue generation, but also the lives of the people who wanted to become their own business owners as well. So again, bringing that data together to make actionable decisions and being able to track impact is hugely important. And then when we think about the human aspect, how can L&D leverage social connection to bring people together, create communities, and share knowledge across the business? Now, this is hugely important given the technological landscape we're currently experiencing. And we're approaching this in a couple of different ways, which I think are worth calling out here. Again, through a recent acquisition of Guider, we now have coaching and mentoring embedded in our platform. So you can access the right mentors at the right time, depending on what you want to learn and develop within an organization, which is very exciting because we know that a lot of organizations currently have mentoring programs within them, but they're all done often using just a spreadsheet and manual matching. So this technology allows people to match based on who you are, what you want to achieve, what your end goals are ultimately, and it makes that experience much more seamless and ultimately impacts again your ability to perform within your role and ultimately the business bottom line at the end of the day. Now, this also will sit on that front page that I just spoke about, that centralized hub. So you'll be able to see whether you've got any mentoring sessions coming up. You'll be able to book in those mentoring sessions and connect with people as well, all from that centralized home page experience, which means that it's front of mind and you're able to access it as and when you need it as well. It's also worth calling out our focus on spaces here and making it the experience on the platform much more social, centered around core opportunities that exist within an organization around employee resource groups, common themes, maybe skills, maybe particular teams or departments, or even particular cohorts for particular programs that you're running as well. And this is developed based on one of our current customers, Google, who have specifically requested this feature on the platform in order to bring people together, to create that shared sense of knowledge and experience and give people the opportunity to contribute back into the business as well. So it's really, really exciting to see this come together. And there are so many different possible solutions that it'll be really interesting to see how this progresses, depending on the type of organization who uses this as well. And ultimately, just to say, we're in an AI era now, and it's time that workplace tools really caught up with that. And I would strongly recommend that you sit down with your own tech suppliers, whether that's Thrive or not, and have a conversation about the art of the possible. Vendors are usually a few steps ahead when it comes to navel gazing and thinking about what the future really has in store. And the use of technology and the roadmaps for that technology will help guide you towards having that impact that ultimately all L&D teams are aiming towards. So if you've got any questions for us, just let us know. We're more than happy to answer. And thank you so much for listening to this session.